Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the We Know Love Island podcast here on RHAP. Today, we will be talking about the second half of week 5, Love Island USA, season 7. God, what a mouthful. I'm Kirsten MacInnis, joined as always by the great Brian Scally. Scally, how are you?
Hello. I am so good. I'm excited to be back here. I know we said we want a minimum of 6 eliminations, but they said, we got you with 5. And I'm okay with it. I'm glad that we at least got a whole bunch of these people out of this villa. I'm excited to talk about everything leading up to it and the fallout since.
Yes. Would I argue that 15 people is still too many people for the Love Island villa? Yes. But it's better than 20, so I'll take it and we'll see what happens. It should, in theory, on Sunday night be a recoupling with women choosing for the first time all season in the 6th week.
Let's hope. So it would be ideal. Hopefully at least one more person is going home in that time.
Yes. Scally, I have a bone to pick with you.
Oh.
It's not really your fault. It's more YouTube's fault.
Okay.
So in case people don't know, this podcast gets posted to the RHAP YouTube twice a week. And YouTube does this thing where it's like people mentioned in this video. And every video says Brian Scally is mentioned in this video. And not one says Kirsten MacInnis. And it's actually twisted.
Interesting. Do I have to say Kirsten MacInnis for it to register? I don't know.
Well, let's see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
I think YouTube doesn't know I'm a person.
Interesting. Well, I'm glad YouTube knows of my existence, or maybe I don't like that. So I'm very anxious or excited. We'll see how that goes.
I just needed to take the opportunity to say that.
Look, it is what it is. But I would say let's jump into week 5, part 2. We are post the letter / postcard challenge.
Yes.
All of the fallout is happening, and I feel like people are just mostly having PTSD from this challenge. That's where we open it.
The challenge was a lot, and it really challenged, a lot of these people's view of how the world is perceiving them, and they are realizing that they were wrong.
Well, yeah, I would say that they are starting to get a little bit of that in the postcard challenge, where they are finding out how their fellow islanders may be perceiving them, only to have that bubble further burst in the next challenge, where they find out from America. But it feels like, as Pepe said, people were shooting shots from the 3-point range. Like, people really got into character on this one.
And some of them were a little mean, but it's fine. And Taylor is really upset at how Alondria cussed him out and said, only my girlfriend and my mama can talk to me that way, and she is neither of those things. And it's like, Taylor, do you not realize your part in causing this upset and hurt that resulted in you getting cussed out?
Do you think he doesn't or doesn't acknowledge it? Because I feel like for a long time, I thought he was consciously stringing her along and thinking I'm just trying to get to my actual person in this villa. But now, I don't know, based on this, I'm almost questioning if Taylor is like, well, I didn't do anything wrong. This is just so out of nowhere.
I think it can be both, though. I think he can be, I want to stay in the villa and I'll do whatever I can to stay. And he doesn't think there's anything wrong with that, And he also probably, kind of the vibe I got for at least the first bit, not lately, was that he was kind of trying to make himself like Alondria more, but it just wasn't working because he doesn't like her and he doesn't have to like her romantically. But the way that it got strung out and the way that he was following Ace's advice, where Ace was like, you're going to regret it. Keep trying. I think kind of put him in an impossible position. And of course, that's not to say that he didn't have agency in making those decisions and actively leading Alondria on, because he did. And to me, that does make him a villain, because he actively, when Alondria actually had someone that seemed like could be a real connection, was when he really applied pressure and made her think that he liked her. And so that's to me what makes him a villain. Him choosing Clark doesn't make him a villain. Like, we crossed that bridge a long time ago.
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear that at least with Shelley, Alandria says, no, like that chapter with Taylor is officially closed. I just hope she doesn't want to reread the book, because that is my...
That's not your fault. Don't read
it. Like, let's skip that chapter next time. So that would be great, but I think at this point, I feel pretty safe in saying, even had, like, let's say Clark gone home this week, I don't think it gets reopened.
I am not so sure about that, if I'm being completely honest. But the thing, like, Alondria, he was fine with you going home. Like, that's the thing too, where I feel like everyone's like, wow, it was so crazy to hear Taylor like make the decision and say Clark's name. Girl, he did that last week. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Yeah, so I feel like, look, she should know, and we can't help her more than this, because, through the voting, I feel like the thoughts have been made pretty clear.
Yes.
People were not happy with how it went. So I'm glad that we have moved past that. I feel like the other decently sized fallout from this challenge was the comments that Pepe got and how they affected Grayson, and the fact that no one would own up to them. Grayson's feeling very upset. Everyone is saying that whoever wrote those comments is a P word for not admitting it.
Just a normal way to talk about people that you claim to be your friends and like family. Right? Like, we love name calling in the Love Island USA villa. Let's be clear. Well, I mean, they love it. I'm not that big of a fan of the name calling.
I mean, I like the drama, and it's really funny every single time. They're like, what a horrible person this person was. How could they ever do this? And the camera just flashes to Huda over and over because, spoiler alert, she wrote the comment, she wrote the question, she wrote the postcard, which she admits to Chris in bed later. Now, Kristen, does this come out at some point?
Well, she hasn't told Alondria, so maybe not. But it also, like, in the full context of the episodes, it doesn't matter now.
Yeah. You know? I think unless we have a movie night, this probably doesn't come out. And just because it's kind of like, why, in the real time, Grayson's gone, spoiler alert for when we talk about that, but so I don't really see it needing to come up. I honestly don't even know that we're going to have a movie night, so unless that does happen, where it's like something titled Girls Girl and it's Huda talking about the bombshells and writing this postcard, then I think that's the only time it could come out. But I don't even know that we're getting movie night, so I'd be surprised.
I think that there's enough conflict in the villa that producers are like, shoot, we can't even do movie night because everyone already hates each other. And I think production likes to stir the pot to an extent, but we're also getting down, at present time, there are 9 days to the finale, right?
Yes.
And they don't really have strong couples, and kind of the point of Love Island is that a couple gets voted to win at the end, and like who's a strong, so like Nick and Sierra are a strong couple, but
we'll talk about them.
Not voting for them for a variety of reasons, which we
don't think most people
are. No, they're not getting votes. Clark and Taylor seem to be a strong couple. They're not getting votes. They're hated, possibly more than Nick and Sierra, which I don't think is fair.
Yeah. Yep.
And then okay, Huda and Chris are starting something, but it's very new. Brian and Maya are starting something. It's very new. Are Ace and Shelley gonna win the season? I don't think so.
I don't know. For me, I kind of feel like when you look at this season, and we'll talk more about Ace and Shelley as we get to them, but I would say this is the season of Ace and Shelley. If you have to sum it up, and that's often how I vote for my Love Island winners, is like, first, who do I like? And second, like, who is this the season of? And I would say definitively Ace and Shelley, considering was Huda and Jeremiah's until that blew up.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think that that's a totally valid and fair way to vote for a winner, but is that how the audience is seeing it? I'm not
Agreed.
so sure. So like, as we get more episodes towards the finale, we'll talk about this more, and obviously next Friday we'll speculate about the winners, but they got to do a lot in a week.
And I think that they can. I think that they have shown that the edits can switch up fast. And I think, actually, let's just do it. Let's talk about Nick and Sierra, because I would say they used to get about half of the episode devoted to them. It used to be the Nick and Sierra show. And I think people probably even that have not seen what's been going on online have noticed that there's just been nothing since that date. And they acknowledge it. But even the content they are getting is tinging negative, I feel like.
Yeah, it's even like they'll have like quote unquote a cute date, and then when Sierra's describing the date, what she's saying Nick said is actually what she said pretty much every single time, and so it's just giving kind of weird. So Sierra, it had come out a little while ago that there had been like an Instagram post where she used a racial slur against Chinese people, and we didn't talk about it the moment it came up, because to be honest, I was like, an Instagram story from 2023 is like really easy for someone to make a fake one. So I couldn't validate if it was real or not. And so I didn't know if it was right to bring up or not bring up because I didn't know. But it's become very clear that it was definitely real. And she did in fact use a slur. And to the point where like her closest friends who've been riding for her are now posting like, I'm not watching the show. I can't support this. Using a slur is not okay.
Yep.
So it was definitely real, and I think a slur is a slur, and she should also be removed from.
Yeah, did not see it for a couple days, and then I had also seen that there were people like alleging that it was faked, but then there was also a video straight out where you can scroll through her TikTok and find another caption that uses the same word. And so people have been calling on Love Island to remove Sierra for days now. It happened early in this season when it was discovered with Yulisa, so I don't understand why they're not doing the same with Sierra. Obviously, there has been even a few more things to come out with Sierra. I think that's another thing with Nick. So I'm ready to lose them. I'm very ready.
They can go. They can go. Send them home. Like, it's fine. I think it's important for shows to have a zero tolerance policy for like hate speak of any kind and weirdo behavior that is motivated by biases and racism. Like, there's just no excuse. And so that they've definitely started cutting them out of the episodes more, and maybe they're doing that as like a get people used to not seeing them, and then we'll pull them out. I don't know, but they should be gone.
I feel like they are trying to figure out how to get Sierra taken out of the villa without removing themselves, because I feel like they were previously viewing Nick and Sierra as the most likely winner couple, and now they don't really want to have to address this ever, and they don't want to have to yank one of these couples without the audience feeling like the more general audience who may not know about this, because as we saw with Yulisa, it often is just like Yulisa left the villa, and I don't think that they want to handle it with Nick and Sierra, but Sierra like that. So I think that they are trying to make her a little bit of a villain on the show. They have really the only thing that she's talking about is other people in the villa in a negative light in most of these ways, where we see like Huda making amends with other women on the show, with Shelley and Alandria. We don't get that scene with Sierra. That she does not have a conversation in which like they repair things. So we're not getting the positive content anymore, and I feel like they are trying to make us eliminate her, and I don't think that's the right way to handle this. God forbid they end up winning the show because they don't do enough. I think they need to, like, it's on them. They should be taking action against.
Yeah, like, it's if you don't know, you don't know, whatever, but at this point everyone knows. And so like and production obviously knows. So like you got to take action in that moment. Like Love Island as a whole has really kind of held themselves up as a show who will remove people when it comes up that they've done something wrong. God forbid they find these things in a background check before they do a show. Like
literally, it's right on their social media.
like that's the thing too, where it's like, okay, yeah, maybe it takes a long time to go through all of someone's story highlights, but like you should just to see, like just to see.
It's doable.
It's
like
not
they're
impossible.
not bringing in as many bombshells this season, like lately, as they used to. So
they could have simply hired Jaden to do it instead of bringing her.
Yeah, exactly. Jaden, you got some free time in this hotel room because you're not coming in for a month and a half. Why don't you just look through everyone's Instagrams?
She could have found it. She could have found the problems. Yeah. So they're not really in the show.
Yeah,
that's a start.
I don't think you'll find us talking about them very much at this point. They might come up in passing because someone is speaking only to them, but I predict even if we were not choosing to talk about them a whole less, the show is doing so for us. Yeah. So this recoupling, I don't know what possible twist there could be that would cause Sierra to go home, but I do think that the show would like it at this point.
Agreed. Yeah. And I really think out of these 2 episodes, the only moment they have is like they've already closed it off, but then they're talking about like what it means to be closed off. And it was weird.
Yeah. I mean, Nick is like, yeah, sure. Okay. Like, this feels, I don't know, weird. It felt awkward. It felt stinted. Where it maybe
like,
has.
Well, what if someone came in? What if someone else came into the villa? Okay, so you're not closed off then.
So,
anyways, who next? Who else should we talk about?
Well, I think we should talk a little bit about the Huda and the, as we know, she makes the comment that is about Pepe and Grayson, but that wasn't the only fallout from the postcard challenge for Huda. She straight up self-isolated for the entire night and morning of the following, where she sat in the corner, said she doesn't want to talk to anyone. She took her breakfast and ate outside alone. And so I really thought we were going to get an entire episode of Huda just like, I'm done with the women, like I don't want to do this. And I would say that the online sentiment was very, very, very pro Huda and very anti Shelly, Alandria, Sierra, etc. So yes. I'm glad that we did get these makeup scenes, because I don't think that the villainization of Alandria and Shelly was deserved to the degree that it happened online at all.
It's like actually insane, the switch up that 90% of the internet had on these 2 Black women who really, like, was it the nicest thing in the world? No, but it wasn't bullying.
No.
Like, yeah. People can have disagreements and arguments and still have relationships with each other, right? And so, like, Huda makes it very clear, because she and Alandria make up, and they, talk about the issues that they've had regarding like the girl code and like the relationship between Huda and Chris. And she's like, everyone was yelling at me and I'm hurt. Like, it made me feel like I have no one. And Alandria, like, it says, yeah, you know what? I do value our friendship, and like, I'll talk to you first next time. It wouldn't come out in a group, which I feel like is a great takeaway.
Yeah. I think the 2 conversations went super well. I think Shelly kind of was like, yeah, talking to you helps me see your perspective. It was the immediate reaction of like, hey, we'll talk later, very clearly indicating Shelly's upset, and Huda responds with like, just a challenge, like devaluing her feelings and just immediately brushing it off was where she got frustrated. So I'm glad that these made the edit and we were allowed to see this, because hopefully things go back to normal. I think everyone is allowed at least 1 bad episode in a full season of Love Island.
It's like these people are literally in prison. They're locked in a villa. There's no clocks. They don't really have a set. And especially with the flow of this season, they have no sense of like how long is left. And I think it's totally normal that people are going to have emotional moments. And let's be clear. Yes, Huda has calmed down, Huda's had way worse moments than all of these women. Like, it's wild for her to then be treated by the fan base as like, oh, she's a little baby bird. We have to protect her from everyone who's me. No, I think she can stand up for herself, actually.
Yeah.
Too much, maybe.
Look, everyone's allowed 1 or 2 bad episodes. I think we were forgetting some people that have had very many bad episodes, and I'm not saying that they deserve near the level of hate that they get either, but it was just very interesting to see how fast the Love Island fan base has switched up, which I think I always knew, but it was even more rapid.
It was wild, and when we get to the elimination, I have some thoughts about the fan base reaction as well.
Well, I think before the elimination, the only couple I feel like we really need to talk about is, or before that challenge really is.
I was like, the elimination.
Well, okay. Well, look, the elimination comes about halfway through. I think that we got to talk about Pepe and Grayson. It is the end for these two. I think Grayson did not see this coming as much as he made it pretty clear in the postcard challenge.
In the postcard challenge, Grayson was upset and Pepe was like, everything's fine. And Grayson's like, but no, what about me? I'm not fine. This is a crazy conversation that we're having. And you can tell just like Pepe was completely emotionally checked out at that point. And also in this conversation where, Grayson's like, it was weird last night. Everyone's saying that you're stuck in the past on Hannah, but like, I feel like we're together. Like, are you exploring with me or are you just using me to process your emotions? And Pepe's like, well, I'm still thinking about Hannah. Yeah. And I just don't feel a spark with you, which I don't understand because you're the sweetest girl in the world. I don't know.
I think that's what it is. I think Pepe is like, I should be ready to explore, but it's just not happening. Like, I just still am sitting here and thinking of Hannah, and maybe that's because I think you think that Grayson and Hannah look exactly the same, so maybe there's some reminders there, but I think in general it's just not clicking, and I think that's fine. Do I think that Pepe and Hannah are like meant to be and nothing ever could have turned his head? No, not necessarily. I just think that they had a much better connection than he and Grayson currently have. Yeah. So he is finding himself pretty stuck on Hannah.
And like Grayson, like we haven't really been shown her personality at all, right? Like, so I don't know her. I don't know what she's like, but it does seem like she's a little maybe less bubbly than Hannah, just based on what we're seeing. Obviously, I don't know her. They haven't allowed us to know her. And so I don't know. I feel like it's just Pepe's not ready to leave Love Island. Like he's not going to leave for anyone. I don't think. Like he's going to stay until he's eliminated. But I think he'll probably hang out with Hannah after the season unless things really work out with Iris.
We'll get there. For me, I would say I am kind of annoyed about the whole I'm going to stick around no matter what, because I feel like in the good days of Love Island, when you really liked someone and you thought that there was no chance of developing with someone else, they go home, you go home too. And we are in the influencer era of Love Island, in which, okay, yes, I really like this person who is going home. They're my soulmate. I love them so much, but I love 500,000 Instagram followers more. So no one is leaving the show.
I also think it's so like such a strange mind warp, because in this influencer era, having a big moment, like actually leaving with someone because you found love and then maybe posting together as a couple will honestly probably net you way more followers than just like staying to the end and not connecting with anyone. Because if you're not in a couple, you're not going to get that much airtime anyway.
Yeah, I do wonder about that. But regardless, I'm a Pepe boy, so I'm excited. So I'm happy he's here, but whatever.
Yeah, out of the boys, I do think Pepe's the one I like. Probably he's up there. He's up there. I might like Brian a little bit better.
Honestly, fine. I will accept the answer, but I think that I'm glad that he was honest with Grayson here. I think it was time to kind of let her go. It's unfortunate timing, because as we're about to get to, got a little challenge where Ariana comes in.
We actually haven't talked about Amaya and her combos with Zach and Brian, which I do think are a little bit important.
I do think they're very important. I just think that the context of Amaya in this challenge maybe was important to that as well.
Well, yeah, but I feel like it's the switch up. So we should
Okay.
maybe talk about them before and then the
Sure.
challenge. Is that okay?
Totally fine with me.
Because so basically, my talks to Zach, and Zach is very much pushing, oh, I don't like when there's tension and awkwardness. I was like you could have talked to me. You never talked to me and you could have talked to me. And Zach's basically is like, oh, when we kissed the first day, like I actually didn't want to, and I should have told you that it was too soon, which is like crazy because that's why he chose Amaya over Alandria. He would have chosen Alandria if she had kissed him outside of a challenge. Like, let's be clear. And she says, that's mean to say. You're not an honest man, and you're an extremely odd individual, and I don't want to talk to you ever again. And I
So
loved this.
there have been, I have not gone back to watch, but there have been people talking about how this scene seems pretty edited based on like the levels and the glasses moving up and down between takes. And so I don't even, because I did think it was like a weird response if he's like, I didn't want to kiss you, but like I felt pressured to. And she's like, that's weird. It's like, okay, I felt like you could maybe view that like odd, but like as a response, like I think it would be like, oh, okay, well, like you should have told me then. It's weird that you are now bringing this up. Like I feel like
Yeah.
there's a little bit of context missing there. So I think the overall vibe doesn't change a whole bunch in that Zach is a weirdo. Like
Zach is
like
a weird individual.
he's an extremely odd individual, as
Yes,
Amaya puts
period.
it. And it's so funny that like that's the meanest thing she says to him, and she's like torn up about it later that she was so mean.
Yeah, and that's what makes me wonder, like, did she maybe cuss him out a little bit and they didn't show it because Amaya Papaya is the most popular person in the world right now?
Maybe. So
But
I
also,
do
like, he
think
deserved to be cussed out. I'm sorry.
I think it's telling that you have Jaden sitting across the villa who's like, ugh, just look at Zach. I want to push him in the pool right now. Like the people are seeing it. And
Yes.
so for me, like we had the day where he completely just didn't even want to talk to anyone. It feels like Zach is now retroactively, we talked about how he jumped on like the bandwagon during the
Mhm.
postcard challenge. And I think that like I am fully out on Zach at this point.
Yeah, and I don't know that I was ever in on him, but I'm
No.
more out than ever before at this
Yeah.
point.
The door was
Um,
open. I hadn't closed the chapter quite. There was like one page left.
he's not my cup of tea, and I'm not gonna
Mm-mm.
drink it, okay?
Mm-mm.
Maya also talks to Brian and just kind of thanks him for standing up for her and says that he's very emotionally aware and nurturing. I loved it. Anytime Amaya's like, I'm a weirdo, but I'm a good weirdo. Like, listen, she never said she was perfect. She never said she didn't have any flaws, but at least she's pretty. At least she's funny. At least she's her own best friend.
It's
Okay.
true. It's
Song of the
true.
summer.
I've even seen like pop punk edits, which is how you know you made it.
I
When
know
you do.
I've literally posted about Love Island to my Instagram story so much that one of the spin instructors at the gym I go to literally sent me a remix of that song and was like, I found the song for my next class.
Wow, I love it.
I haven't even been to her class in a while. So I was like, yes, my online presence is working.
That's so funny. No, I think that Brian has been a standout where we really did not get to see him in Casa Amor. I'm glad that we are starting to get to see him with Amaya. I don't know if they just didn't talk in Casa because I feel like Amaya talked to almost every person, but
Mhm.
yet I know that most people have said like, oh, we didn't even get a chance to talk in Casa. Like they didn't speak to every person because it was only 2.5 days, but I'm glad that they've connected now.
Yeah, Casa Amor gets shorter every time you hear someone talk about it. If they come
Yep.
out of the season and they're like, "Oh, we were there for half a day," like I would
Yep.
honestly believe them at this point.
Yep. Yep. And so this all leads into presented by Maybelline. We are going to have another challenge at nighttime called Hate to Burst Your Bubble, where the Islanders will find out what America really thinks of them. They'll be ranked from most to least in a
Mhm.
handful of categories as voted on by America.
And first of all, it's hilarious that this is presented by the Maybelline like colossal mascara or whatever, and they have these giant mascaras just like awkwardly next to the challenge. They did like the scene of all the women getting ready using the Maybelline makeup, and it's like, sure, yeah, they're all using Maybelline for Maybelline does have some great products, but
Okay.
I probably wouldn't do a full face.
You know what? Whatever keeps Love Island on the air, I'm down for a little product placement. So it's fine.
100%. I watched Big Brother Canada till the bitter end. I'll take product placement.
Exactly. So I think this was pretty interesting. I don't
Yes.
know that the specific topics need to be gone through one by one because
No.
it basically showed us, for the most part, who is the most popular and who is the least popular by America, because people found themselves falling around the same spot every time.
Yes. And to be clear, these polls were before the
Yes.
Tuesday night episode, or no?
They
Yeah,
were, I
but they
believe,
were
a little bit
before the
before the Tuesday night
Yeah, they
postcard
were
episode.
before the Tuesday night postcard episode, whereas the vote for elimination happened after that episode. So that's why you might be seeing a little bit of a the postcards definitely did impact people's opinions a little bit as well.
Yeah, there were things that I was surprised to see that the voting came out this way without the postcards. So we'll talk about that. I think overall, some of the bigger takeaways are we got Pepe, Chris, like Zach is kind of popular, shockingly, in some of these votes. But I think those are like some of the top boys at this moment in time. Nick.
Yeah, like, and it's funny because like for a lot of the guesses, like the boys are guessing like, oh, Ace, Nick, TJ, these would be the top boys, and then in almost every round it's like, no, move to the end or move to the middle, and actually Pepe is first place.
Pepe's first place every time. Thank you for only counting my votes. But then while you have a lot of these boys, TJ, Austin, Ace, Taylor, the bottom four every time.
As they should be. I also was very I wanted to give the Islanders heads a shake, because how do you see the first couple results come in and not like
change it up?
Like, oh,
At
actually
all.
it seems like Pepe is first. Like at one point they're like, okay, we'll put Pepe like second after like Ace. It's like, why would anyone think Ace is boyfriend material? What do you mean?
Yeah, well, he does the most things. He's constantly bringing breakfast. It's like, we don't care. We don't care at all.
What's so crazy is the bar for a boyfriend apparently is literally in hell. You just have to like one time make them breakfast or like do a meditation with them. But also all of these people are like, I've never been in a relationship. I only have situationships. And it's like, so it seems like maybe you don't know what a good boyfriend would do, because you've, I guess, never had one.
Yep. Whereas on the women's side, we're seeing Clark at the bottom every single time. I felt really bad.
I do feel bad for Clark, because she's getting votes based on Taylor's actions, not based on her as a person, because we haven't gotten to know her at all outside of her connection with Taylor. And I think it's really telling that even despite all of the issues with Taylor and the I don't want to even call it a love triangle, because it's, again, not a triangle, that Alondria and Clark have shown respect for each other and have gotten along in spite of it, is like, she shouldn't be in the bottom. Like, yeah, we don't know her, but like, put her in the middle. Like,
I get why it happened, because I think a lot of people were just like, and Team Alandria, I moved her down, but I don't think like anyone was rating her super highly, whereas maybe some of the other people in the middle got some high votes. I would say the one that shocked me more is, considering this was before the postcard episode, I was surprised Shelly was so close to the bottom.
I was not surprised. So I watch a lot of these episodes with Josh, my boyfriend, and so I feel like he brings me like the casual Love Island perspective.
Sure.
And he for a while has been like, Shelly's just like Ace. like doing this kind of the same thing. And I have seen that take online for probably about a week or so as well. And before the postcard episode, I also got a text from a friend being like, Shelly's a bully, which I don't agree with, and I don't think she's a bully, but that at least indicates to me that perception was turning even sooner than what we maybe thought with the postcard challenge.
Interesting. Well, at least we picked up on perception turning with Amaya being the top rated girl of every single vote this week.
Everything.
Literally number one. She's so happy, and I'm happy for her. She really is like celebrating this win. People are celebrating this win for her quite a bit. She even dragged Zach up towards the couple that they would most want a vacation with. So not necessarily my number one, but sure.
I loved that when Ariana's like, Amaya and Zach, would you guys even go on vacation together?
Yeah, it's like friends. Like, yeah.
Like, no, he's actually an extremely odd individual, and you don't want to talk to him again, let alone go on vacation. Like, come on.
A pass. So, look, I thought that this was a fun challenge. I like when they get a little bit of information from the outside world. I wonder if we will get the, like, oh, we're going to read tweets about you challenge still, or if this was just it.
Yeah, I'm so curious how the structure of this last, like, week, like, there's only 3 episodes left.
Yep.
So I'm very, very curious. Or not 3 episodes, like 3 podcasts left. Like, a week and then one more. There's 6 episodes of the show left.
So it seems like. So I am curious to see, but there is one more vote that America made. And this was to vote for their favorite islander, both the girls and the boys, resulting in a bottom 3 on the girl side of Jaden, Grayson, and Andrena. On the bottom 3 of the boys, more shockingly, I would say, TJ, Taylor, and Austin.
Inject it in my veins. I feel that America did a great job on the votes.
Amazing.
Like, really, really good. I'm really glad Clark wasn't in the bottom, because she doesn't deserve to be in the bottom. She seems like a perfectly nice person. Were you surprised? Like, who were you most surprised about in these bottom 3s?
Honestly, probably Taylor. I felt like, okay, on the girl side, it pretty much is 3 of the newest girls. That's not super shocking. That's usually how these goes. And I thought it was probably going to be the same on the boys side, where it's just Casa Boy after Casa Boy. And so for the fact that we got 3 boys who have been here for some time, before Casa Amor, 2 OGs in the bottom, Taylor, who's had a ton of screen time, and even though there are lots of Taylor detractors, this was not a vote to eliminate, it was a vote to save. So as long as he has some fans, you would think he could escape this bottom, and no, for the first time he falls down here.
Yes, that was the first time for him. I was pleasantly surprised that he was in the bottom, because I wanted him to be in the bottom, but I did see some people saying, oh, I want to vote for him because he like stood on business in the postcard challenge. I'm like, no.
I didn't like the business.
I mean, at least like he freed Alondria, I guess, but too little too late. He should have done that a month ago. Austin has been in the bottom of every single vote.
That's where it wasn't shocking.
We've been trying to get rid of Austin, and so I was happy to see him there. And then people have really wanted the opportunity to get rid of TJ as well. This is the first time he's been eligible for a vote, because he came in, there was a vote, but you're not eligible because you're single and you're new. We wanted him out then, and we got him. But so there's the 6 at risk, and they do the thing where you're standing on the heart, and everyone who's safe stands behind the person they want to save. And one person will be saved. I do think it wasn't made super clear in the episode for maybe the newer to Love Island people that no, it's one person, not one of each gender getting saved. Because I think a lot of people I saw online talking about how they were shocked when 5 went home and not 4, because they thought that one man and one woman would be saved.
Interesting. I was not
Who?
super surprised based on the wording. I felt like I was happy to hear. I was like, send them all home. But at the
Yes.
same time, I
No.
was
Send
like,
them all home.
I'm really glad to be at least losing 5. If I had been told that we were saving 2, I would have been pretty upset at that point. So your
Yeah. No.
next question was
I agree completely with you on that. And but if they'd gotten rid of all 6, then I bet Clark would have left 2, and then we would have been down 7, which would have been really nice.
I wonder if she would have left, because I also thought maybe based on these eliminations, someone else could have left also. But it is what it is. Now, were there any votes here that you were super shocked by? Because the Islanders do get to vote for someone to stay. They do so by standing behind the Islander that they want to save. Any votes shock you?
I wasn't shocked, but I thought it was crazy for Pepe to stand behind Taylor and not even give like a token amount of support for Grayson. Like, yes, you broke up, but damn.
I just feel like, okay, so the way that this works is, for anyone who doesn't know, they text their answers in before they go stand there. So you're locked in. So even if you see, oh, my friend doesn't have anyone, I could just do it as like a show of respect and not actually thinking I'm going to get anywhere in this vote. So I think Pepe, unfortunately, just like is one of the boys, and they were kind of always going to vote this way. I would say the vote that most people are shocked by. Well, let me first say, Alandria voting for Austin. Like, come on, we need her to make better decisions in this villa.
I'm sorry. Love Alandria. Her picker is broken. Her picker's broken.
Yeah, not good. But the other one people are taking issue with is Sierra standing behind Taylor.
Yeah, but like you can take issue with it, but it's not surprising at all. Like I'm pretty sure that Taylor, Nick, and Ace have an alliance, which I'm sure the couples are all aware of. So, like, to me, it's more surprising that Shelly didn't vote for Taylor with them and stood behind Andreina.
Well, because I was not sure it would be a big issue. As Sierra says, she's like, oh, I did it for Nick, which is like, do it for yourself. Like, vote for
Grow
who you
up.
want to stay here.
Yeah, no, grow the hell up. What do you mean you did it for a man? You've known him 5 weeks.
So that was frustrating, but as well as I wasn't sure if it would bother Alandria or not, but she says it was like a stab in the back. She really felt hurt by one of her friends going and supporting the guy that just really embarrassed her. So I was kind of surprised by it based on Alandria saying it was so hurtful.
Well, but here's the thing. Did you notice the switch up of seats during the challenge with the ranking?
I don't know that I did.
So at the start of the challenge, Sierra is sitting in the front row with Shelly and Alandria in their little we want to be PPG whatever. By the end of the challenge, Sierra's sitting in the back row with Amaya after she sees time after time that America likes Amaya. And so I think that she was like, screw Alandria, I don't care.
Interesting. I wonder. I think that is a curious theory. I think a lot of people online have been like, why didn't she vote for TJ, considering she's saying Iris is her best friend? Why wouldn't she save her best friend's man here? But I'm at least thankful that didn't happen. I know a lot of people were complaining about the eliminations, but honestly, I feel like this is a much better set of eliminations than I thought we would get.
We got Austin, we got TJ, we've been aiming at them for some time, and Taylor, count your days, you're next. Like, this feels great. I do also think, like, with Taylor being at the very bottom of everything, pretty much, people who want to win Love Island are like, well, Taylor's not going to win the season, keep him in.
I do think that's very possible. I think that it is likely, and I do feel similarly, or at least in the opposite vein, people seeing Amaya at the top when they have not been necessarily the nicest to her, where they have kept her in on vote after vote, and now all of a sudden she is America's sweetheart. I feel like you could see people being like, oh crap, what did we do?
Yep, they are realizing that they're wrong. And yeah, Austin, maybe you should have kept your veins in your neck. and
we
been a little nicer to the people's princess.
we do say goodbye to Austin and TJ, good riddance. And then as far as like Andrina, Grayson, Jaden, just don't really feel like I knew you. I feel, feel bad you didn't get your chance, but goodbye.
Yeah, when Austin left with Jaden, they seemed happy to be leaving together. Good for them.
Even though she did say that her conversation with Brian was the best first conversation she's had here, but sure. I wonder
First conversation.
I don't think Jaden and Austin continue to be anything on the outside.
I mean, I think that they will do at least 3 TikTok lives, and that's fine. That can be their whole journey.
Yep. And now the one piece left here is with TJ leaving, Iris is left single. She is very, very upset. She thought that she doesn't understand why America would vote him in the bottom. He tells her even that she has to stay here and finish her journey. And we got a pretty quick switch around. Seems like Iris's journey is now with Pepe.
And this is a huge improvement for me because I had recently discovered through getting one conversation that actually showed Iris's personality that I like her. And so happy for her to be coupled up with someone else I like instead of someone I'm actively rooting against and want out of the villa. I did like at the start of the Friday episode where Ian Sterling's like, I told them to pump in some music to get the vibes up, but they played Adele. And then it's just like everyone crying.
I do think this pairing is a little random. It's funny when Alandri's like, Pepe has a type. His third blonde, fourth blonde, like of the season. It is,
which is
one
hilarious because Pepe has said, "Oh, I don't really like blondes," and now this is.
Yes. In a row. So it's interesting. I think that I like them both a lot. I think they're cute in theory. I need to see a little bit more of a connection to fully buy in. But the fact that Pepe was the most popular man on the men's side and Iris was consistently number 2 on the women's side, if they show an actual spark, I think this could be a pretty dangerous couple in terms of win equity.
Yeah, I agree completely. I saw them talking and I said, "Oh, is that who's going to win?"
It's possible. So I think that they probably have to overcome the Amaya Papaya stand-up, which I don't know that that's going to happen, but I think it is at least like, oh, there's a little bit of a race going on that I did not necessarily see coming. If you had told me early on that the winners were between Iris and Pepe versus Amaya and whoever she ended up with, in zero world would I have believed you.
Yeah, you were late to seeing the vision of Amaya Papaya.
I was.
And that's okay. She did not get to show her full self at the start. And so it's understandable.
I feel like you convinced me on Amaya, I convinced you on Pepe, and we have
agree. Yes, 100%.
A good time.
And you know what? We both ended up on the right side of history before like things went crazy. So that's all that matters. And here's what pisses me off. The Casa Boys talk after the challenge, and Zach is like, "Yeah, I'm open to Alondra or Amaya. I fuck heavy with Amaya. Shut the hell up, chicklet teeth. Like, I'm done."
God, I hated this. I hated this so much. They end up having a conversation where it's like suddenly good vibes. He is saying like, "I should have said everything in private. You're so right. I just got excited by the challenge and the call out nature of everything. I am so sorry. I think you're a wicked girl." And he is like very clearly trying to open that door again.
Yep, absolutely. And Amaya does apologize for the words she said in anger, that she doesn't like to, call people mean names, which does leave me like, she definitely called him more than an extremely odd individual.
She's like, "I don't think anyone deserves to be cursed at no matter what they do." And I was like, no, like some people do.
No, okay. And he did. And you said what needed to be said. And she says, "I was in a bad place. I'm sorry for what I said," which, like, queen, honestly.
Like, sure.
And then she goes to the confessional and says, "You know what? Zach and I have come to a close romantically, but at least we can be friends." Yes, queen.
I'm so happy.
You know where you're going to find Amaya? Standing on business. What did she say? She doesn't have 9 toes. She has 10 toes. 10 toes down.
I am so happy. I feel like she was like maybe at risk of falling back here. And I wonder if Brian was not in the picture, could that have happened? But I'm very glad that Amaya has another suitor, so we don't have to worry about it.
I'm so relieved. I am so, like, if she was stuck with only Zach as an option, I would have been. I mean, but here's the thing: they would have brought a bombshell for her.
I feel like someone would have popped up, whether it's an existing person in the villa or what. I think that, yeah, frankly, at this point, Amaya feels a little bit unstoppable. They could bring someone in, they could whatever, and we would be fine with it. I wonder if they've released the bombshells from the hotels at this point. Because it's like, we have like 10 days,
Yeah.
8 days.
I think they will bring one more bombshell in before the end.
Usually they do.
They tend to bring like one bombshell in after Casa, and it's normally someone who at least production perceives as a ringer.
Yeah, like, you know, we've brought in past Islanders in this spot before, so I feel like usually we would hear rumors of that happening by now. I'm wondering if maybe they're just like, we got what we need. We have 20 people. Like, we got to eliminate these people as we go. We can't keep bringing in more people. And I think being that most people that we care about have an option in here, I don't think that they are as motivated to.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. I think that with Amaya having a connection, with Pepe now having a connection, like the only thing is if they really want to bring someone in for Alondria, but
yeah,
we'll see.
We will see. Now, who else was catching your attention post challenge?
Well, how are we? Ace and Shelly talk a bit about how they were at the bottom a lot and they didn't expect that.
Yeah, I think that pre-challenge, there was still a little bit of Shelly being like, I don't know how I look at Ace. Like, I feel like the postcard challenge was kind of a weird look. I think that him coming at me over Chris is just not something I would do. I would talk to him in private. And after they kind of maybe bond a little bit over being voted in the bottom so much, I think that's kind of erased. Shelly has the conversation with Chris where they mutually agree it's over. This isn't happening, obviously. But I think Shelly and Ace coming together in this way, kind of putting aside the differences, as much as I don't think we really got clear closure on that for us as an audience, they feel like they did. So sure.
Yeah. I mean, to me it felt like they got back from Casa and then we never really saw anything happening there. So I'm glad that we officially put it to a close in words rather than just fizzling out. And Shelly does tell Ace she's now ready to close it off. And Ace is like, yes, which I don't know why. Maybe I just like don't watch the Ace scenes carefully because I don't really care for him that much. But I did not realize that it was like, no, he's ready to close down, but Shelly's the one who's keeping options open. Like I had not really. I know it just like I didn't believe it. Like I just I don't know. I didn't buy it. I really didn't think that it was such a thing. And then when the scene happens and they talk while they're eating breakfast, I was like, I definitely like blocked out some of their conversations because I would have thought it was more mutual.
Post Casa, he was pretty ready. He just, which I applauded the decision and the read on. He did not want to make it like, I am only asking you to close it off to rule out the option of Chris for you because you have someone here and I'm insecure. So I was happy that he did not do that. I'm happy that it came up.
See, now that sounds familiar. I remember you saying that. I don't remember him saying that.
Well, I'm glad that it came this way because it ended up working. It seems more genuine. Again, I still feel like a little bit of, but what about all of the arguments you guys were having right before this? But whatever.
It's the end game. No more arguments. Everything's fine. Well, we'll see. I mean, they could technically still do movie. It would be late to do movie night though, right?
It would be. I feel like we get this other challenge crashing out, which I'm gonna be so honest, I don't care about this at all. It's a total nothing.
I was so bored. I'm so glad that we're on the same page. So basically, you pick a wingman or wingwoman. then there's 2 doors, and each of you runs towards a door. One of the doors will break, and one of the doors you'll bounce off of, like you're playing Fall Guys. Then you like go into a slime pool. Then the man goes up to like a pie thing and says like, the last time I crashed out is blank, and then they get hit in the face with the pie, and then they choose someone to make out with in a ball pit.
This feels like a day 6 challenge. Like, why are we doing it now?
If they should have made there be some element of like, no, we'll tell you when you last crashed out was.
Yeah. Something else. I just don't know what it is. It is, or like name someone else's biggest crash out or something. Like stir up drama. This feels like a challenge that would have happened in season 1 on day like 12, where it's like, okay, we don't really know what we're doing yet.
Exactly. I agree completely. And I just need for the audience, like, Scally is so gracious, and he takes like master notes for both of us to use so that we don't get lost. And generally a challenge would be like 3 pages long of like, this was the options on the doors, this is what they picked, here's who crashed into the door, oh, this is what happened in the slime pool, oh, this is what they said was their last crash out, then they got the pie, this is who they chose to make out with. What do we think about this? Like, there's tables, there's charts, there's dioramas. Like, Scally watches
I'm gonna put a line graph.
No, literally, like, he has a magnifying glass, he's a detective, he's getting all the details. For the crashing out challenge, there's the explanation of what the challenge is, who everyone picked and who crashed into the wall. Nothing. The woman pick Ace as the winner.
I could watch this on 5X and get the gist of it. Like, I'm good. I don't, and honestly, it'd be way funnier. So I felt like this was a complete waste of time. I feel like they didn't know what they were doing and they're spinning their wheels. I wonder if this is kind of also them being like, we need every hands on deck to figure out what we're doing with Sierra. So just give them a challenge. Like, get them out of our hands.
Yeah, for now. That's fair. But like, they could have done a better kissing challenge. Like, everyone just found out what America thinks of them, at least a little bit. Make the challenge a reaction to that.
Yeah, something. Just literally anything.
They gave us nothing, and I'm so glad we agreed on that.
It was.
I was like, if Scally likes this, like, I don't know how I'm gonna talk to him.
Oh my god, no, not at all. And this is, I think, the only things that are of note here is Zach makes out with Amaya again after they like crash into the wall. It's like, okay, like, you're really trying hard again, buddy. And then we get a little bit of Brian picks Amaya to make out with her. And so I am glad that from this point on, it seems pretty locked in. Brian and Amaya are the new it couple.
A Bria papaya. Yeah, then they had a good kiss. Like a really, really good kiss. So
Amaya says he's the best kisser in the villa, and she's kissed everybody, so she knows.
And Amaya is what? Genuine. So I believe her.
True. That is true. Most genuine, most trustworthy.
Here's the thing. Has Amaya kissed Shelly, though? Because I did hear that she's the best kisser. And I don't know if they did the girl kiss.
That is fair.
Oh, wait, no, they did a 3-way kiss. So yes, she has.
There we go. That is
Never
true.
mind. Well, confirmed. Brian's
I feel like it's
kisser.
tough to prove yourself in a 3-way kiss, but it's fine.
To prove yourself is such a funny way to put that.
you gotta prove it.
I'm crying.
The competition.
But yeah, Iris and Pepe also kiss in the challenge, and it was a good kiss. But Iris is kind of like, oh, I guess there is someone for me to explore with.
All of the sudden, this is something. And this was another where we get Sierra and Nick being like, this is weird. Like, I don't like this. Why are Pepe and Iris a thing?
And they can get over it.
Hi.
How about that? Grow up. Because we like Pepe. While we're talking about Iris, can I just say one thing?
Please.
So you know her beautiful red and white bikini that she's worn a couple of times on the season? Heard about it. I have recently found out that this bikini costs $300 American dollars.
Yep. I saw the TikTok where someone was like, I was influenced on Love Island and I had to spend $300 on a bathing suit. And I was like, there's got to be a dupe. There's got to be a dupe.
You didn't have to spend $300 on a bathing suit. I'm sorry. I'm like, I know it exists. I know people pay like a lot of money for these luxury like bathing suit brands. Like, that is a piece of floss.
Why spend $300 on a bathing suit when you could give it to me? Is what I say. So
Yeah,
I don't
drop your
know.
Venmo.
I don't know.
We should be making these podcasts where we have the second row under our name, and it's just like how people can send us money.
Yes, I agree. But so, like, good for Iris, especially considering she packed well for this. I remember the TikTok I saw was like, I've been preparing my entire life for this, and she has 700 bikinis.
Where's she from again? She from a beachy place?
I do not know, but she came well stocked, and so if everything costs $300 there, then congratulations, Iris.
There's no way they all cost. She lives in LA, so it does make sense that she would have more bathing suits than the average person.
She will not make up the cost of her bikinis even if she wins the show. So it is a problem. She is going into debt.
She paid off those bathing suits a long time ago. It's called girl math, Scally.
Well, each half of the bikini is only $150. So that is good.
Throw up. I'm literally gonna throw up. That's so horrifying to me. I know it's completely irrelevant, but it's something that's been weighing on my mind.
Look, it's a thing. It's fine. And you know what? If it ends up getting her the win here with Pepe, maybe the investment was worth it.
Maybe it was all worth it. I saw her sitting by the pool in one of these episodes wearing that bathing suit. I said, "Hey, Josh, do you see that bathing suit?" I was like, "That cost $300 US." Horrified.
It's a lot of money. So otherwise, I mean, we finish out this episode really on the Amaya and Brian conversation where they're clicking. She's glad she finally has someone who gets her. And I feel like this is it. This feels very like good, safe, calm, as Amaya puts it. Is there any part of you that thinks that Brian is doing this because Amaya is popular?
I mean, unfortunately, because of the timing, that's always going to be a little bit of a concern in the back of my mind. But Brian did stick up for her when no one else did, when everyone was berating her and they did not know she was popular at the time. So while maybe he's prodded on a little bit by knowing she's popular, they do seem like a really good match. And she's like blushing hard while they're talking. It really felt like a palpable vibe. And they were making out, and then they did the Hannah and Pepe where Amaya was mounted him in the speakeasy. So
yeah, I love how she's like, "Do you like my grandma dress?" It was so funny.
He goes, "Oh, I really like this dress," and she goes, "You like my grandma dress?" Like, kind of surprised, which I love, because guess what? Amaya is not a male-centered woman. Okay, she is genuine and true to herself, and she does what she wants. And I just, this is what we want to rally. Like, the thing is like, the people who become the most successful influencers after being on TV are the people who are genuine characters who we love and we want to follow their journey. So when people come on with the goal of being an influencer and just kind of give bland, that's never going to resonate with the audience the way someone just being themselves fully can be. And so I'm just so thrilled for Amaya. She's over, you said 1.5 million followers on TikTok?
Instagram, which is even harder.
Which is way hard. So what's she at on TikTok? Probably like 4 million.
Honestly, I feel like the TikTok has not been popping off as hard as it usually does. And let's also say, as much as I appreciate like that Iris came well stocked in the clothing department, that she has a well curated feed that's been keeping me entertained when it comes across my TikTok, Amaya doesn't have any of that, or to the degree. Especially, she has no handler for her Instagram or her socials. No one is running those socials, so that growth is completely organic and not at all based off of someone posting content and people wanting to see that content while she's in the villa. She's just coming back to an empty feed and 1.5 million followers. And also, people have been saying that like she's repeated outfits a couple times, so she didn't even like pack as heavily as every other person does who never wants to be an outfit repeater. So it just does come off more genuine. I feel like this is something that we don't often see on Love Island anymore.
Yeah, and I just love it. Yeah, so I look, she's at 2 million on
Cool.
TikTok, which is still great.
Really good.
But the 1.5 on Instagram is extremely impressive. And
Hmm.
I'm one of them.
There we go. So
So
I am excited. I think as much as I normally am very nervous for the people who are extremely popular and have late interest by bombshells or Casa people, I am less nervous about this one. Brian does seem more genuine, and I've been tricked before, but I am currently rooting for them.
agreed. And again, like Amaya could have coupled up with the wall and I
It's
would
true.
vote for her. So
Well, not Zach, but the wall would be better.
well, Zach, I'd be like, how do we break them up? Like, we've got to fix this. But
uh,
thankfully, she has recognized that they are over
exactly.
romantically, and she has a new romantic option. So I'm not concerned about him at all. Um, I know we meant to end on my and Brian. Can we just like
Mhm.
talk about one thing about the Pepe and Iris conversation that I
What
found
do you
was
want to say?
so strange? So they're just talking about how like they had a good kiss, they had fun in the challenge, they feel comfortable together. And Iris starts talking about how she doesn't really date on the outside. You know, she's only had 3 boyfriends. And Pepe's like, only 3 boyfriends from like in 10
In the
years
last 10 years?
is like so. And I'm like, I feel like most of the people in the villa would say they've never had a boyfriend. So actually, Iris has had way more boyfriends than most of these people.
Mhm.
I love. She's like, I've never cheated. I'm always loyal, and I feel it felt in the edit like it came out of nowhere, but they were probably talking about that,
It also feels like they're counting middle school boyfriends, and I'm like, like I don't
right?
know how like having 3 boyfriends in middle school versus 0 are the same to me.
I like. I was like, well, for like actual relationships that count, I'm 32 and I feel like I've only had two.
There you
So
go. There you go.
but if we want to go back, like way back to middle school, like yeah, sure, there's like middle school boyfriends. Like
Yeah,
that's
those
not
don't
a
count.
thing.
They're
That
not
doesn't
real.
count.
Those are not real.
Imagine if I was like, I've had 27 boyfriends, and I'm like, in grade 5, there was this guy. Like
Yep.
that doesn't count.
Yep. So no, they're not real. I guess how old is Iris even? I feel like she's like 24.
Yeah, I think
So
she is for you.
yeah, no, we're not counting from when you're 13. I'm sorry.
No, Pepe
We're not.
does. Pepe
No.
counts from when you're
Stop it, Pepe.
14.
His one flaw.
But yeah, I just thought that that was extremely odd, and I
It
wanted
was
to
funny.
bring it up on the podcast.
It was very funny.
But I think that's it. There's nothing else that we've missed, right?
Yeah, a smaller batch content wise. I
Yes.
feel like even only a 50-minute episode, maybe for the first time all season. So that was quite shocking. I am good to jump into the next portion. Kidding, week 6 in Love Island. That's crazy.
Yes.
I
Week
can't believe it's
6.
here.
It has literally flown by. I can't believe
So
it.
quick.
But yeah, week 6 starts on Sunday, and there will be a recoupling on Sunday, and so presumably some people will go home. Um, hopefully production takes some action and also removes the people that should be removed. But we will see. We won't really know until we know. Scally, for the people that are desperate for more content from you, where can they find it?
Ooh, people can find me over on the Free Agents podcast with Matt Lagori, talking about the challenge, talking about many other shows in draft form. I know that allegedly some cast just got back from their filming, and maybe we're going to do another round of talking about them over there. But anything else I'm
Ooh.
doing is on social media at Brian_Scally on Twitter, Brian Scally on Blue Sky, and B Scally on Twitch.
Amazing. And you can follow me everywhere at Kirsten Said What. You can listen to Mess Magnets every week with myself and Sasha Joseph, talking pop culture, celebrity gossip, trending topics, all that stuff. And you can subscribe to this podcast at weknowloveisland.com. We see the 5-star reviews. We love the 5-star reviews. It slowed down like a scooch. And we would appreciate if you haven't yet given us a 5-star rating and review. We love to see them. We
Yeah.
deeply need and want the external validation. So please give it to us so that we don't get sad.
you got Amaya to 1.5 million on Instagram. I think we can get to 250 on Apple Podcast reviews.
Yes, absolutely. I would love that. So listen, just a little goal as a community. Again, we know loveisland.com. You can chat with us in the comments of the YouTube video. I'm up in there talking to y'all. So please do that as well. And we will see you after the Tuesday night episode of Love Island USA. Thanks for listening. Bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.